Hi there folks, and a very warm welcome to this week's tutorial. Paul Thompson from Twang Tuition here. And this week's request has come from Chloe, who's requested Don't Look Back into the Sun by the Libertines. And she's asked me if it would be doable for somebody that's only been playing about 6 months. And I'm going to suggest that yes, it is. I'm going to do the tutorial covering mostly open chords. There's a few little nice little chord inversions as well, 3-string chord inversions, which I'm going to go through. Which covers the intro and the verses. There's some new techniques that I haven't covered on here called octaves. There's some nice little melodic octaves there, which are kind of similar to power chords, but they're not. And then there's a nice little great classic riff in there as well. So plenty of stuff to keep you busy on this week's tutorial. Thanks very much for that, Chloe. And here we go with Don't Look Back into the Sun. Before I do the tutorial, just to remind you, if you're relatively new to guitar, check out my Beginners Online guitar course. 26 lessons takes you from the very beginnings of you playing, all the really important techniques that you need to take you forward. Works out less than £5 a lesson. You'll be amazed how quickly you'll be learning songs. So check that out. The website's on here. And without further ado, here we go. Don't Look Back into the Sun. First thing to say then, before we're starting the tutorial, is I'm using 2 settings on my amplifier for this. If you've got a foot switch off using pedals, you want a fairly clean sound on the chordal intro part, and then for the riff, something with a bit more gain. So if you've got a distortion pedal, that'll work fine. If you're using a split channel amp, then you'll need 2 channels on your amp to give you 2 different tones. Right, on with the intro, then the chord intro, and like I said in the introduction, we're using some little 3-string chord inversions here, and so you'll recognise some of the shapes, I'm sure, but we're just playing on the top 3 strings, and I'll just walk you through the chords first of all, and the positions. So we've got a D shape, G major to begin with. That's at the 7th fret. The 2nd string is carrying the root note there, the G. That's G major, D shape. To a D major, which is taken from the A-shaped bar chord there. First finger on the 5th fret, 2nd and 3rd on the respective 2nd and 3rd strings. Okay. Then to an E minor. Now I'm barring the top 3 strings down with 3rd finger. It's taken from the E minor bar chord there. That's me E minor, down to another D major, but this time it's me F shape at the 10th fret. Again, taken from that bar chord, but you can liken it to the open F shape there that we sometimes play down the 1st fret. So that's your D major. So keeping the same shape down onto the C major there, down 2 frets, back up to D major. Then another G major chord, which is the same shape as the one I used on the D major further down. Okay, and that's at the 10th fret with my 1st finger and the 12th with my 2nd and 3rd. Now, when we play the rhythm, okay, I'm going to keep to down stabs, right? I'll simplify the rhythm first because it's 1 bar on each chord, and we're playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So really quick down stabs for this. I think that gives it its sound rather than up and down strumming, which would be a little bit too smooth, I feel, for this. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Turns back down on the D before we go into the second part of the intro. Right, and the kind of, now there's a little flick on the odd chord there as well. If you can get those in, little down up, down, little flick there. On each chord change, if you can get it in, it sounds nice. Some little accents as well there, on some of those chords. turn around on that D chord then, and we're going back to the G chord now for the second part of the intro, which is picked, it's picked on the second and third strings alternately, but then I'm keeping my first finger down on the first string there, because we're going to use that string later on. So nice and slow. So I think that's around about eight. That's about 8 bars. We're going to go into a pick slide for the last 2 bars, which leads into the intro. So nice and slowly again. Notice I'm alternate picking between the second and the third strings there. Okay, then we go into a pick slide. Now this is where, if you've not done a pick slide before, you're carrying the edge of the pick along the bottom 2 strings there with the overdrive on. It gives it quite a nice dramatic sound there. And into the main part of the riff then now. Now I'm playing this, the first part of this on the open 2nd string and the first finger on the 1st fret and the 3rd frets respectively there. So the first part of the intro, just around those 3 notes. Just got to get that melody in your head and then convert it onto the guitar. But it's just all around those 3 notes. And then we're moving, my first finger I'm moving up to the 3rd fret, covering both strings there, the 1st and the 2nd string, and then hammering on the 5th fret with my 3rd finger. Now it sounds good to catch both strings after the hammer on there. Keeping my first finger anchored there, 3rd finger to the 5th fret, back to the double 3 3rd fret there, and then I'm swapping. My first finger's dropping onto the 1st string, my 2nd finger onto the 2nd string 3rd fret, and that gives me the end of that melody there, playing both strings, and then a little run down. So I'll just take you through that little first part again, the second half of that intro again. Right, there we have it. Back to a relatively clean sound now for the verse chords. The first part of the verse chords, I just played a general strumming pattern on there, but on this, but they're all open chords. So 1 bar on G, 3, 4, 1 bar on D, E minor, back to D, C, back to D, G, turn around on D, and that repeats through. Okay, now into the pre-chorus then now, and this is where I'm changing onto me kind of heavier channel again. Now this is where I'm playing octaves here. Okay, and octaves, if you've not played octaves before, they're very similar fingering to power chords. You can use your first and your third or your first and your fourth. I use my first and my fourth. And the reason why they're called octaves is the two of the same notes, they're just an octave apart. So my first finger's on the C, 3rd fret, 5th string. My little finger, or if you prefer your 3rd finger, is going two strings higher. Okay, so we've got the 2 notes there, but you've got to be also careful to mute the string in between with your first finger. Don't bar it, don't cover it. It needs to be muted, so we only get those 2 strings ringing. Okay, it's a nice little technique to learn. It is featured on a lot of songs. So 1, 2, 3, 2 bars on that. And I'm playing another octave pattern here. This time on the G. My first finger on the 3rd fret, 6th string. The octave G. 2 frets, two strings higher again. Okay, and you can also on the G. Just let those other open strings ring. The Libertines are very shambolic, and it's letting those, you know, sometimes those open strings ring, give it that kind of really nice messy sound. Back to C again, and then up to D. I'm moving the same pattern, the octaves up to the D, and stop there, and then the next verse follows those same 3-stringed chord inversion pattern that we did on the intro. That covers then the next part of the verse, and that's pretty much the that's the sort of main parts of the song. Then the intro riff comes in again a bit later on. You just got to listen out for those the arrangements of which sequence of chords come in at what time, and that's pretty much it. To finish off, I'm hearing a little slightly different melody. This is something I've interpreted myself. You can take it and try it, or just play the intro riff to the end as you like. But I'm hearing this, so we'll play the intro riff again. So what I'm playing there is just a little melodic line just to finish it off. Up to the B there at the 7th fret. And then just to finish, I've done the second half of the riff. And there we go.